And so, thank you, and thanks for the plug for the podcast. Appreciate it very much. And also, thanks to AOHR for putting together what a terrific panel this is. Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about what MESA has put together. MESA is the Middle East Studies Association, which involves roughly 2,700 members, 50 plus institutional members, 36 affiliated members. And they released a statement reflecting on the cultural genocide that's going on in Gaza. And this is coming from academics. This is coming from university professors. And I wanted to do a shout out for the faculty who are supporting these student protests, and in many cases showing equally great courage because their jobs are on the line. Some of them have already lost their jobs. They face the censure and various other actions, including trolling from some pretty vicious people. All right, I'll just want to read just a little bit from this statement. MESA, we feel compelled to write once more to address not only the accelerating scale of genocidal violence, but also the concomitant cultural genocide that is a result of the wanton destruction of the built environment and civilian infrastructure of the Gaza Strip. And that's been alluded to just a little bit in terms of the destruction of roads and infrastructure and that sort of thing. What MESA points out is the deliberate destruction of the historical landscape of the territory. The very notion of a Palestinian people is itself under attack through Israel's policy of destroying Gaza's archaeological, religious, and cultural heritage sites. As a scholarly community, we're aghast at the unfathomable actions being carried out by the IDF on 2.3 million people. But we're also appalled, MESA says, at the decimation of thousands of years of historical material culture that constitutes a part of our shared world heritage. And they point out that this is a policy that's been going on for 100 years. I think it's an important point to make as well. The Zionist policy, which is essentially to facilitate the expulsion of the Palestinians from their homeland, erase their material and cultural claims to it, and by extension, their historical memory, thus denying their existence as a people. And we see this over and over again. We see this in terms of Mr. Blinken trotting around from various Middle East capitals. We see this from Arab leaders who receive Mr. Blinken. It is as if the Palestinian people do not exist. They are never invited to the table. Their fates are being determined by these foreign powers who show no interest in the Palestinian people and their culture and their society. And of course, the United States is the lead actor, but I'm right now speaking to you from London. Britain has tootled along very merrily and cheerfully with the American policy. According to a statement from the Arab Regional Group at the International Council of Monuments and Sites, more than 200 of the 325 registered sites in Gaza considered of national, global, historic, archaeological, natural, religious, and humanitarian importance have been destroyed or severely damaged by the Israeli military. Look, this is a plan to eradicate culture, the history, the story of the Palestinian people. One of the things that's happened too is that they have destroyed graveyards. Two of those cemeteries are administered by the Commonwealth War Graves Committee, which is here in London, based here in London. I've approached them and asked them to confirm the status of those cemeteries, but also, more importantly, the status of the Palestinian people who have maintained those cemeteries for decades, families that have carried on the tradition for decades. I've approached them. I've received no response from them. Just a quick run through of what's been destroyed thus far. 5 public libraries and archives, 4 university libraries together with the universities, 6 publishing houses and smaller libraries, 19 cultural and social centers, 3 media and artistic production companies, 10 museums, 4 churches, at least 114 mosques have been destroyed, 2 others damaged, 8 archaeological sites, the cemeteries and monuments I've mentioned, 7 historic or traditional houses and markets, and the natural heritage site, the coastal wetlands in the Gaza Valley, to say nothing of the destruction of farmlands. It's an extraordinary list that is well worth noting. And if anyone wants the more detail on it, I'd encourage them to go to tinyurl.com/Gaza libs. It's all laid out there. It's really shocking, and it is about destruction of the Palestinian people. Now, look, because I'm Canadian, I want to talk just very briefly about what's happening in Canada. And there's, I guess, good news and bad news on that front. No, the bad news front, the University of Calgary, students put up tents. Within minutes of those tents going up, the university administration called in the Calgary police, who then used stun grenades and tear gas to clear off these students. The students were beaten, they were attacked, completely, which for Canada is kind of unprecedented. We're not normally that aggressive, but there you go. And the premier of the province of Alberta saluted what the police had done. On the good side, the University of McGill, very prominent university in Montreal, the university administration sought an injunction to remove the tents. That injunction was thrown out by a court in Quebec. Another interesting study that the CBC did, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, there's this allegation that first surfaced from the mayor of New York. He said, all those tents, they're all alike. Why is that? Someone must be behind that, some evil force. So the allegation also surfaced in Canada because there were all these tents, they're all the same. So the reporter did something simple. He went to a big company online and checked out the cost of the tents. Well, each tent cost $48. So it didn't take too much money to actually, order the tents, get them set up. Students did it themselves with their own money. There was no dark figure behind it, no George Soros character buying in and bringing in foreign agitators, which is really ironic because Soros is himself Jewish and also a Holocaust survivor. And there is this anti-Semitic trope that is emerging of this evil Jew who is causing some sort of dark arts process that, again, these protesters are themselves the perpetrators and not the victims. Yeah, I was also encouraged that with the ICC, predictably, our prime minister came out and backed Joe Biden's line that this is outrageous and it wouldn't make any difference. How dare the ICC? However, the shadow minister, Foreign Affairs Secretary David Lammy, did come out and make the point that all parties need to be held accountable. He didn't attack the ICC. He didn't claim they're anti-Semitic, as Benjamin Netanyahu famously has done. And I'm encouraged by that simply because the Labour Party has been so supine thus far in terms of supporting Israel, supporting the genocide, supporting our government. Finally, we're seeing a little bit of light between them and the Sunak government. I guess I'll probably just end it there. But I do, if the opportunity arises, I would like to come back and talk a little bit more about the art and the act of resistance and how resistance is very much embodied in culture. That is language, that is music, that is food, that is a whole bunch of things beyond protest. And of course, protest, as we're seeing in North America and here in the UK, is an important part of the resistance as well. Thank you.